today. It's been quite a while since I've been able to say hi to all of you and wish you a happy 2025. Um, I'm a little under the weather this week, and I know that there's a lot of stuff going around. So, what I wanted to do today is take some time and share with you how I'm using Life Pros products in order to help with this respiratory uh, funk that's going around. There's a lot of people that are suffering from pneumonia or respiratory, viral, bacterial problems. There's a lot of gastrointestinal challenges going around. But either way, I'm super excited to be here with all of you. And so, what I'm wanting to share with you today is part of me being on the road to recovery with this respiratory walking pneumonia is using vibration, mechanical vibration, to help shake some of that stuff loose out of our system and getting my body with the lymphatic system upregulated, getting the happy hormones released because when we don't feel good, it's easy to get stuck into a stagnant slump. And being that we are in the first week of the new year 2025, I wanted to share with you on some of my goal setting strategies, because that's what allows us to move the needle forward in our life and to grow as individuals is through goal setting and strategies. A lot of people like to use the New Year's resolutions and wanting to lose weight or working on their overall health or trying to set some new initiatives in life. And by the time you get to February or March, those New Year's resolutions are gone, as opposed to us actually getting better. So I wanted to share with you kind of what I have learned to use over the years that have led to success with LifePro, as well as successful in my own practice of Kivik Kinetic Solutions. And it's started with John Gordon several years ago with a one-word theme. And so each and every year, you come up with one word that defines how you want to finish the year. And every decision that goes into each and every day of your life, every hour, which is 24 hours a day, does it feed into the outcome of living life, being proud of that one word theme or that goal set for the whole series? And so I wanted to share with you some of that today as I am showing you how to use mechanical vibration behind me to help shake loose some of this respiratory funk. And for those of you who are wanting to lose weight and get lean and trim and just feel better, when all of our immune system is compromised or some of the stuff that's going around that we don't have control over, how you can get back on track to getting to being the best version of yourself possible. Red light therapy is really, really good if you're trying to trim down and get lean and trying to work on regeneration, collagen production, stem cell production. Red light therapy and infrared light therapy are proven effective clinically to enhance how the human biology system as a whole on a cellular level, how it works. For optimal performance. So I'm not at optimal performance right now because obviously my voice is not back. Energy level is challenging, it's challenging to breathe at times. And so, how can we use certain Life Pro products in order to give our body the environment that it needs in order to sustain, in order to repair, but also in order to recover faster? And so, as I'm recovering through this voice change, through this virus, through this croup that I've been going through this last week, I got sick on Christmas Eve after flying home from New York City, spending time in New York City with my daughter for our Christmas together this year. And I seriously felt like on Christmas Day that I'd been hit by a train and no voice, hurt to cough, hurt to swallow. Didn't get out of bed for almost 3 days. Everything hurt all the way down to the bones. And then, of course, everything sets into this respiratory system. So I've been using our Life Pro products. I've got the sauna back there in the corner. So if you have a sauna blanket or if you have one of our infrared products, the sauna itself, it helps to regenerate and helps to clear out the system really, really fast because it penetrates on a global cellular basis. A faster rate is if you don't have one. And for those of you who don't have the space for a sauna, and if you're wanting to experience similar benefits, our portable sauna blankets are great for that. But also, red light therapy is great for that, which I've got over here behind me. Um, One of the things that works great in getting healthy with red light therapy when it comes to respiratory distress is we actually make a product that is used for nasal therapy. So, sinuses, um, having to clear out all of this infection, this fungus, this virus or bacteria, all of it. Red light therapy works really well for all of that. And I did a special on this about a year ago on some of our specialty products. And so you can go back and watch that series all over again if you'd like to. But this right here is the Bio Rejuvenate. And so it is made for not only the nose, but it's also made for the auricle for, your ear, for your inner ear, which is where a lot of infection can set in and cause us challenges with equilibrium, with vertigo, with tinnitus. And this system that LifePro has created is meant to help in recovering all of that. So I'm going to show you here really quick how that works. If you're on, and here's what you got to remember. If you are on antibiotics, you have to be really careful using red light therapy because red light therapy and antibiotics interfere with each other, and you can actually cause like a bad reaction with the antibiotics. So just make sure that if you are sick and if your doctor puts you on antibiotics or any kind of medication that makes you photosensitive, it will say it on the outside of the bottle. But if it makes it photosensitive, you have to be really careful using those products, using LifePro products, red light therapy and infrared light therapy with antibiotics that are photosensitive. And so these go inside the ears. I've got my microphone on, but these go inside the ears. And then when you turn it on, so we have our power buttons here on the side. So we're going to go into, so this right now is set up for nasal, okay? And it's set up automatically for 30 minutes. And when you go to push the light button, hang on here, red light comes on, okay? And right now I have red light on one and the infrared light is working on the other. So two different types of technologies, light phototherapy. But if you're trying to work on nasal challenges, decongestion, sinus problems, we have these protective covers for this apparatus. And I'm going to pull it out of here. So if you're wanting to share them amongst friends, family, what have you, this one is made for the nose. And so you just slide that up in there and everything shines through this. And then in order to keep it in the nose, these things are magnetic, so they stay together. But you can actually put this inside of your nose. I know, it looks really funny. Makes me look like Rudolph, right? I already have a bad voice. But whoops, that didn't. This worked. This didn't work. I always like these bloopers. We learn as we go, right? My nose is naturally small, so to try and get this stuff up in here, there we go. So it might be that you have to maneuver a little bit different. You can also cut this in the middle in order to get it to where you don't have to use it all as one unit. But we have lots of these protective covers that come extra in the package so that you can use them. But if you're wanting to separate these in order to create more space, you can actually cut this protective cover, or if you're not going to share it with other people, you don't have to cover it at all. You just stick them up in there, okay? And they stay, or they should stay. But the magnets keep everything kind of together. So you can do that, okay? This is set up for 30 minutes. And again, I've got infrared and red light therapy working all at the same time. So you can choose different settings. We have that here on the side. So you can choose different settings. Right now, there's a party going on inside of my nose. So we are on pulsed mode here where the red light and infrared light is flashing. So it's creating a little bit of a party for the little cells that are trying to receive extra energy and upregulating so that we can recover faster. So red light therapy, infrared light therapy going on in my sinuses right now, going on in the nasal passages. Really good if you've got diagnosis of COVID, strep throat, sinusitis, bronchitis, because it all works up in here. You can use this for all of those types of situations. And you can lay back and relax into this. But 30 minutes is the default setting. And you can push that button. Each time you push the button, it changes which, the magnet just kicked in. It changes which parts are firing. So again, we've got infrared and red light, or you can choose to go just with, so that's the power off. And then again, you can kind of choose as to which one is working. It all changes based on just the touch of a button. All right. So that is the Bio Rejuvenate. And again, it does come with nasal covers if you're wanting to share this amongst people at home. It doesn't matter which side you slide it into, one versus the other. Um, but you can lay back, hold it into position. But again, these magnets do work. Um, and it doesn't feel any different with the covers on, with the covers off. But if you want to turn yourself into Rudolph and you want to see everything radiating through, this is how it works. Really, really good for sinus congestion, for some of these viral things, bacterial things. But again, if you're taking antibiotics, oh, a lot of talking. If you're taking antibiotics, do be careful and making sure that you're not using a photosensitive antibiotic so that you don't cause a reaction, extra burns, because you can have burns from using an antibiotic in combination with red light therapy. It is a photosensitive side effect, and it will tell you that on the package. So that is our Bio Rejuvenate. Again, it can be used on the nose. It can be used in the ears. So if you have an ear infection or if you're having challenges with vertigo or tinnitus, you can actually put those inside of your ears and again, kind of run the light show. And because the ear is a gateway to so much more beneath the surface of the cranium, you have access to a lot more cells in healing. So this is engineered and created for working on the face. That's what it's known for. So if you are wanting to try that, again, this is the Bio Rejuvenate red light therapy nasal therapy system. You're getting red light therapy and infrared. Um, Remember, infrared light is naked to the human eye, so you don't tend to see it the same. But anyways, that's a product that we have available. I also want to share with you, if you happen to have nail fungus as you guys are getting pedicures, manicures, if you happen to pick up a fungus at a nail salon, um, LifePro also makes the BioRemedy product, which is meant for specifically nail fungi and bacterial infections on the nails. And it is a blue light therapy device. Blue light is really good for viral and for antibacterial properties as opposed to cellular regeneration and healing. So if you're needing something specific for nails, we do make a product that is blue light therapy for nail fungus specifically. Now, if you are, again, I'm respiratory challenged today. So our Aleva Pro Red Light Therapy Elite is a battery pack wireless system. And so in order for it to work, it actually has to make contact with the magnets on the outside of the belt. Okay. And so when we turn this on, we're powering on. Hold up here. Powering on. Oh, we're not powering on because the battery is dead because I didn't charge it. So go figure. Unfortunately, I did that to you all today. Anyhow, but when we are trying to work on cellular rejuvenation, regeneration, and we're also trying to work on fat loss, red light therapy is really good for fat loss, especially in areas around the tummy. So if you are wanting to work on those areas, you want to make sure that your red light therapy belt is in direct contact with your skin underneath of your clothes. So you can actually do that, and it helps in weight loss and fat metabolism around the tummy. The other thing that it is going to be really good at is autoimmune conditions such as Crohn's disease, leaky gut. Some of those are really going to work well with red light and infrared light therapy belts. And so there is a lot of clinical data and a lot of research that proves that that red light therapy and infrared light therapy helps in putting a lot of autoimmune conditions into remission. And if you combine it with the vibration platform, you actually get pelvic floor firing, and you also get smooth muscle fibers in the abdominal wall, in the abdominal cavity firing as well. So you can combine red light therapy, infrared light therapy belt with whole body vibration, and you're getting two different types of biohacking technology in the same amount of time spent on the device. So I'm not going to do that because why? I'm on antibiotics. So I'm not going to wear the red light therapy at the same time for today's demo because I'm actually taking antibiotics, and that would be an adverse reaction or a possibility of a side effect reaction of the antibiotic to use it with red light therapy. So make sure if you're sick and if you're wanting to use some of these biohacking technologies that you are working to um, make the optimal environment for your body to heal itself or to accelerate healing by making sure that you know what is in your medication if you're taking medication. That being said, you also see the NordPod Plus behind me and the NordPod Elite off to the side. Um, when your immune system has been compromised, and if you are struggling with systemic illness, you've got a cold, you've got pneumonia, you've got a virus that's kicking your tail, the worst thing that you can do, my friends, is get into a polar plunge, into cold water immersion using one of our tubs or a tub that you might already have at home. Your system has already been shocked. It is trying to fight to get back to normal. So we don't want to stress the system any more than it is already stressed. So do not do cryo immersion, cold water immersion therapy, or a polar plunge in our tubs if you are already fighting virus or bacteria infection, because it is just going to stress your system even further. So once you are on the upswing, and if you are medicated for something that's going around through these seasonal changes, and if you have been on the upswing and you've been asymptomatic for at least a week, then you can get into the polar plunge. But don't go polar plunging until you've been a week free and clear of symptoms so that your immune system has time to catch up. Vitamin C and a multivitamin is really important to be taking if you have a compromised immune system like I have had. Um, I was supposed to have some surgery done yesterday, an elective surgery, and I'm going to be doing a special series coming up later this month because my surgery has been postponed for a couple of weeks so my immune system can catch up. So I'm going to be using Live Pro products in order to get my immune system to speed up through the lymphatic cleansing process so that my immune system is rebounding in the right direction. But once I have my surgery done, I'm going to be showing you how you can use our Life Pro products post-operatively in order to accelerate recovery, rehabilitation, and cellular regeneration, as well as scar tissue management. There was a big post on social media just not too long ago about fascia and how fascia reshapes, regenerates, how you can break it down or release it. There's so many different terms that people use interchangeably when it comes to the world of fascia and connective tissue. And I'm not going to get into an argument with anybody on social media, whether it is in a live or whether it is in person in comment sections. I am an expert. I'm one of the top experts in the nation in fascia itself. I am paid presenter to be on stages to teach about fascia, so I know it very well. We use in my facility here, we're actually using the vibration platforms to assess fascial restrictions, adhesions, and to see where the body is holding on to tension that's unnecessary and where it is moving where it should be. There's a big misconception as to the difference between stretching, flexibility, mobility, and now a common term being passed around, which makes more sense, pliability, how pliable our body is in reshaping. And pliability has everything to do with fascia rejuvenation, regeneration. And what we have to remember is that fascia connects every single contractile tissue in the human body through a series of what we call the fascia matrix. Fascia is not just a couple of thick bands of tissue or slings of tissue. It is an entire system that allows the body to transfer and absorb energy and vibration, which is what allows us to grow and to overcome resistance and to develop lean muscle mass. Fascia it's a web that is multidimensional, and it holds emotion. It has pain generation 10 times greater than that of the nervous system. The meridians run through it. Our blood flows through it. It attaches onto bone, but blood and bone are not contractile connective tissues. Yes, they are connective tissues, but they're not considered part of the fascia in a sense because it's not contractile. However, blood flows through the middle of fascia, through the jelly matrix, and it attaches every other structure to bone. So every connective tissue inter- interacts with fascia. When we have toxins in our system and we get sick, there are certain areas of our fascia matrix, the web, that we hold toxins in more other areas that have become entrapped and glued within than others. Okay. And so if we can use vibration, which is a mechanical stimulant to rearranging the fascia matrix, the fascia system, we can use vibration to do that. Mechanical vibration has been clinically proven through imaging and through witnessing it from the outside in, as well from the inside out. We have the ability to change how our body functions anatomically, cellularly, as well as how the fascia reshapes and regenerates itself. The fascia can be broken down because it is intertwining. It is not just bands of tissue. Yes, it does take 3,000 pounds of force to elongate, stretch certain bands of it, but it is intricately interconnected with no beginning, no end, and no empty spaces. And so it connects one cell to another, one tissue to another. And so, yes, it can be manipulated outside of what a massage therapist do, outside of what a physical therapist or an athletic trainer or chiropractor can do with scraping or with cupping. Vibration, mechanical vibration, actively stimulates up to 90% of our muscle fibers to twitch and shake. And all of those are connected and interconnected into our fascia, which shakes and vibrates the fascia connective tissue matrix. So we can break loose certain structures that have been entrapped in our system, which creates then a histamine response, which is what you are seeing right now with me being sick. Um, the vibration allows us the opportunity to shake loose some of the crap in our fascia in order to be able to mobilize it and get it out of our system. So for people who have got long-term COVID repercussions or problems, or for people who have pneumonia, they put those people on a rotating bed for a reason because it creates a vibration in which those toxins are shaken loose out of the system, but it also keeps certain toxins from settling in to the into the body and remaining stagnant and getting stuck there to where it causes more and more problems. Okay. So I'm going to show you how to use our vibration platforms to help break free some of the stuff that gets stuck in our lungs, in our bronchial tubes, in our connective tissue, in our muscles, in the cellular matrix. It is ever intertwining. In other words, the fascia is just not on the outside of the body. It is everywhere in the spaces inside and in between structural spaces. There are several types of fascia that we have that keep us put together and allow us to transition energy from one point to another and allows our body to reshape when we become injured, when we get an injury, when we get cut, um, when we do too much of the same thing all the time, when we don't move enough. That connective tissue system is always reshaping and regenerating itself, but it also gets stagnant. Hydration is super important when you're sick because that fascia matrix is made up of 80% water, as well as collagen and elastin in the substance, in the jelly, in the ocean of our body that we're swimming in, from our neck down. And in the cranium, from the neck up, it is 90% water in that substance. So when we drink water in at least half of our body weight in ounces, it helps to cleanse our system, naturally speaking, so that we can continue to recover and regenerate and our cells continue to reproduce and communicate through our different systems working together. Vibration is quite helpful in eliminating some of the crap in our system, but is also quite helpful in upregulating our immune system. It is quite helpful in allowing our muscles to continue to fire when we don't have the energy to do the exercise necessary to maintain lean muscle mass. The machine does it for us. So just being on vibration platforms or using a massage gun allows us the opportunity to remain active and allows our body to continue to try and manage itself in an optimal environment or in a better environment than if we didn't do anything at all. So I'm not trying to sell you Life Pro products by telling you that it has the ability to heal you, because we're not trying to say that our products heal you. It provides a better environment for the body to fix itself. And if we get out of the way and let our body do what it knows how to do without putting the crap in it that causes more and more problems, then we would be better off. But we don't do that to ourselves. So we have to enhance how our body can function on its own by giving it these biohacking strategies. Cryotherapy is one of them. The heat therapy, which is the sauna, as well as red light therapy, those are types of heat, but they penetrate through at a very deep level using photo wavelengths. Very, very natural. Okay. Vibration, mechanical vibration helps shake stuff loose by stimulating our muscles to fire, but also allowing flow in and flow out. Cupping, really good if you are trying to decrease blood pressure, increase circulation, as well as decompressing and opening up the clogs in the fascia. There's a lot of clogs, there's a lot of adhesions, there's a lot of junk that gets stuck within the fascia matrix. And cupping opens all of that out, allows the plug to go through, and allows blood flow to flow in and push out more junk. So cupping is really good. We have mechanical cupping, we have power operated cupping devices that help with all of that. I use cupping in my practice every day, and I use it with the vibration platforms as a way to assess where people are holding on to bad energy, toxic energy, and where we need to reshape their bodies. So if you have questions about that, it's a lot of information, but if you have questions about that, don't hesitate to comment below the video, and I'll go back into the notes and try and enter some of this stuff. But I am certified, I'm board certified, I'm licensed, and I work with a lot of the top scientists in the world to know everything that is up to date, not only in the literature, but also through photo imaging, through cameras inside the human body. Fascia does not show up on a CT scan, an MRI, and X-ray. It does show up on an ultrasound if you know what you're looking for on the ultrasound, how to locate it, but it presents as being very similar to what muscle tissue looks like. But we actually do ultrasonic guided dry needling. We do ultrasonic guided cupping as well, so we can see when we're breaking through the fascia membrane and or the fascial lines, because there's several different types of fascial lines. And we also use it in order to see if the structures are changing in their makeup, and we can actually see that happening through ultrasound. So the information that you are getting here through LifePro is world class, updated, and with the world's greatest scientists, which are actually not in the United States, they're actually in Europe and in Australia, is where the research is being conducted. They don't provide that information for free to all of you because it's their intellectual property, and I pay money in order to learn it so I can then share it with all of you, but also use it in my own professional setting. So I'm going to start with just standing on the vibration platform and talking about goal setting, as well as talking about New Year's resolutions and how you can assess your life and how to establish goals, or how to go about your 24 hours a day. Because there is one thing that all of us have in common, and that is 24 hours a day. And how we use that 24 hours a day is how we finish up on the next day. And those who are quote unquote more successful, or they get further down the line in making things happen, is what you do with that 24 hours a day versus what you don't. So I'd like to share with you how I've been taught through the years by paying a mentor, a business coach, to teach me some of this stuff. And you get to learn it here for free instead of, I mean, I spend anywhere from, $5,000 to $15,000 a year to have a coach teach me how to do all this stuff. And you get to learn it for free today. So I'm saving you the money, and sharing with LifePro how it works. But I'm going to do it while I'm multitasking and talking to you on the vibration platform. You're going to see I've got my shoes on because I've been working today. And there's been a lot of questions. Is it better to do vibration with the shoes on or shoes off? It doesn't matter, whatever works for you. But I will tell you this: the research studies in barefoot neurosensory conditioning and training on a cellular basis that if you train barefoot on the vibration platforms, 80% of our nerve cells called nociceptors and mechanoreceptors exist only on the skin on the bottom of our feet and on the skin on the palms of our hands. The skin on the palms of our hands are like 17 times more powerful than the skin on the bottom of our feet when it comes to the amount of cells that are providing feedback to the brain about awareness of where we're at in space and how our body should be operating. So if you do this barefoot, you're going to have a heightened sensory response and you're going to enrich and excite those little mechanoreceptors and nociceptors on the skin on the bottom of your feet. Whereas if you wear socks and shoes, it creates a barrier and blocking that sensory input. So it is better to do vibration with your shoes and socks off if you're needing that heightened sensory. If you feel more safe doing some of our programs using the vibration platforms with your shoes and socks on, you're still going to get a great outcome from doing the exercises. So don't wonder if you're doing something wrong by wearing shoes and socks, because you're not doing anything wrong. You're still getting results. You just might not getting as thorough results as what you realize are possible, but you might not even care. Because if your goal is to lose weight and shape up, you're stimulating that muscle response system by just being on the vibration platforms. And if you are wanting more neuroplasticity, which is how the brain coordinates with the human body through the peripheral nervous system, and spatial awareness, reaction timing, balance, coordination, how quickly you can respond to a situation of trauma. That is all happening up here in what we call neuroplasticity in the brain. And that actually is enhanced if you're on the vibration platforms barefoot or using your palms. So I'm going to teach you how to do both of those, because in trying to loosen up this respiratory problem that I have going on, that I have caught through just being in public, and it is going around like rapid fire. I'm going to teach you how to use your palms in order to shake some of that stuff loose out of your ribs, but also how to just stand on the vibration platform and let it just kind of break out of itself, because it just feels good. You can also sit on the vibration platform and you get an heightened experience because it's your lungs and your chest are closer to the vibration platform. It's not going to cause brain damage. It's not going to cause you to have an asthma attack. It's not going to cause you heart problems by being closer to the platform if you're sitting on it. Um, our machines do not provide enough G force because it is a residential model. They do not provide enough G force to cause harm to the human body with respect to the brain, heart, and respiratory. Okay, so we don't want you to worry about that. But I'm going to do this for the sake of convenience with my shoes on. And I really like the P2 program. It's my favorite. Let me adjust here just a little bit so you can actually see my whole body. And, oh, there we go. I think we're taller now. Making sure you're drinking lots of water. So just standing here talking to you, I'm multitasking and being able to allow this vibration to work up into my chest, which helps in eliminating some of the junk. Okay. So, and it just feels good because when you can't move because you're sick and you're in bed. I didn't get out of bed for 4 days, 4 days. And then when I actually did get out of bed, I actually took a lot more time. I've not done exercise, physical exercise in 2 weeks. You only have to go 14 days without exercise to lose 50% of your gains. So that really sucks if you have been working on building lean muscle mass and getting all lean and trim, and you don't want to lose that if you can avoid it. So getting on the vibration platform allows you the opportunity to restore and recover. So I'm just standing here having a conversation with you. That's all you have to do. Just get on the machine and let it take care of you. And you're going to see, honestly, when I stand sideways, it is shaking a lot of stuff free. So it doesn't matter how you stand, just standing on here is getting a lot of this stuff working and firing and feeling good. Yes. So one more theme. So every year everybody wants to create these goals. I'm going to lose this amount of weight by February or March, and then they fail, and then the rest of the year just happens. So I live my whole year in a one word theme, or in a series of themes. Last year's theme was God is greater than your highs and your lows. So it was four symbols: G, greater, high, low, hills and valleys. And last year was probably one of the worst years of my entire life, um, because of some personal choices that I made. But it also resulted in me having the best year of my life because I personally grew, I spiritually grew, and I grew in 9 months more than I probably have in 40 years. So, but it went back to that theme. Like, I'm having a bad day, but I'm still here and I have already survived my worst day. So, serve every single day with gratitude. And so that's how I was able to rise up from the depths of the valleys to getting back into some peaked areas. This year, my theme is to soar with greatness. SOAR. It is an acronym. Soar with greatness. Eagles soar. They don't, yes, they do fly, but they also soar. And when we're soaring, we're coasting, but we're rising up. Okay. So, my acronym SOAR is servant leadership, which is sharing some of my expertise with all of you and making sure that I'm researching and scripture. So it is truly, you know, serving others. That's the big thing, serving others in whatever capacity I can help. O is observation. Is observation of others. It's observation of myself and pouring into my needs. It is being a listener and observing what's going on around me so that I can make the difference that needs to be made. It's observing all of you. It's reading your comments. It's reading the questions in the VIP group and understanding what needs to be shared so that you don't have to pay somebody to teach you some of that stuff. And that's what we're here for at Life Pro. A is applying my gifts, application of my talents to making your life better by just doing it because. We all have certain gifts in our life that we've been handed in spirit. And some of us is patience. Some of us are really good in the medical world. Some of us are really good in the construction world. Some of us are really good in IT work. Some of us are really good at being a caretaker or being a parent. There's being a teacher. There are so many different gifts that are out there that most people take for granted that don't realize that they're gifted. And so if you can take your gifts and apply them for making the world a better place, it comes back around to you when you least expect it. And then R is being responsive to the needs, my needs, but also your needs. Being responsive, which means I'm going to have to adapt, adjust, I'm going to have to pivot on some things. As we have more and more Life Pro products that are coming out, I've got to be responsive to what their purpose and then the intention of inventing those products is for, and making sure that I am applying the information to all of you so that you know how to use our products if you're using our products, and if you might need our products, like when do you know you're going to need them, and how can we make your life better by just being able to share some of these products with you. Most of you probably didn't think that standing on a vibration platform was going to help respiratory distress, and it really, really does. I'm going to take this down to the floor because we always try and set a time guideline of 30 minutes, max a day. And just sitting here, if you start coughing, it's allowing you to get rid of some of that stuff. So if you do have some respiratory issues going on and just sitting on here, it is shaking some of this stuff out. It feels so good, actually. It feels so good. So talking a lot takes a lot of energy. So just sitting here and allowing this machine to help me eliminate some of that stuff, it just feels so good. If you need more shaking out here in the chest and in the lungs, you can make contact with your palms, because remember, those nerve cells are really powerful. And when we have respiratory challenges, or those of you who have been in surgery and you have that anesthesia, those molecules of those pharmaceuticals are in our body for a long time. And just making contact with this unit is going to help shake some of that stuff out. But if you've had any kind of an orthopedic surgery in which they do a scope and they, insert the scope and then they inflate gas into your body so they can actually see what needs fixed. But when you come out of surgery, that gas has to go somewhere and there's nowhere for it to go. So it can make you feel like you're almost having a heart attack. Um, you can sit on this machine and put your palms on it, and it helps to shake that gas to dissipate it out of your bloodstream. It actually happens. And it actually allows you to recover faster, allows you to lay on your back or lay on your side much sooner than having to sit up in a recliner for a while. So just sitting here just feels, just feels really good. So you don't have to have a reason to sit on here. You don't have to be sick. You don't have to want to just get stronger with the arms or with the core. You can just want to improve your overall mood because by sitting on here, it enhances our happy hormones to release. And so we just naturally feel happier by being on the vibration platform. It kind of tickles. And then, of course, when you start making some funny voices like I make when I'm on here, then you can laugh at yourself because of how things might feel. Our nervous system is very interesting in how it protects us from certain things. It was just 2 weeks ago, I knew my immune system was compromised because just 2 weeks ago I had Bell's palsy and the whole left side of my face was not firing very well at all. If I would smile, that's how I actually figured out I had it, was I would smile, but I wouldn't get that nice little line, that dimple there. And I took a selfie with a volleyball team after coaching them, and I went and looked at the selfie and realized, wow, um, my smile looks a little altered. Half of my face is smiling, and the other half of my face isn't. And so when we are stressed, when our body is emotionally stressed, and when our immune system becomes compromised, or we get a virus or a bacterial infection that causes more stress, it can cause Bell's palsy. I figured that out. And so I've had acupuncture, I've been on steroids, been on antibiotics, and then got my smile back, and then lost my voice and got this respiratory funk. So now we're working on healing through all of that so that I can have surgery. And then I'm going to start healing all over again with a whole nother immune system response. So Life Pro is pretty powerful when it comes to helping me heal. Within the control that I have. So just sitting on this, if you don't want to use your palms and you just want to sit back and just allow things to work through pelvic floor, I can sit with my feet together, sitting nice and tall, and it's entering through my booty, starting to cough. So I'm getting rid of some of this stuff, which needs to leave my lungs because it's making me stagnant. Stagnant fluid is bad, 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 bad. So we want to eliminate. Some of you might cough. Some of you might develop a rash. Some of you might start to itch. It's all part of the detox elimination process of the human body. So there was the first 10 minutes. So I started standing, made my way to sitting on my rump with my feet out so that I'm getting more pelvic floor. Had my hands on here so we got more rib cage. Now I'm going to go hands and knees where I'm shaky, and I'm able to shake loose some of this stuff on the backside. So I'm going to get myself a mat here. Make sure, again, that you have your water so that you can hydrate in order to eliminate everything. Going through lots of clear fluids. All right. So again, going into P2 mode. If P2 is too much for you and you don't want P2, then you can choose to go into manual mode, or you can choose to go into what other mode you want to. I had somebody send me a message, if you can use this for frozen shoulder. Absolutely. This is actually the way that we would start with a frozen shoulder situation. So if you wanted to start with sitting back on your heels and just putting your hands out in front of you because you can't raise your arms up overhead, you can also start with that. But we're just trying to get muscles firing. We're trying to get blood flow. We're trying to get motion. We're trying to get separation of adhesions that cause frozen shoulder syndrome. So yes, you can work your way into a kneeling position on your hands and your knees. And my head is not so close to the machine that it feels uncomfortable, but my arms are shaking and my ribs are shaking really heavy. Okay. Now things are really shaking, and this actually feels so good. I haven't been on here in a while, and I wanted to make sure that my live today featured something that would help me because I'm now through the initial phase of not having a fever. So, that being said, if you do have an illness, bacteria, whatever you got going on, pneumonia, GI, if you're running a fever, you do not want to get on your Life Pro platform if you have a fever because your body is already at a heightened state. So you need to rest. So when you do have a fever that dissipates and you're no longer dealing with a fever, now it's time to get on. Okay. The closer that your hands are to the center, the less you're going to feel the intensity up into your head, but you're going to feel it more up into the shoulder. So if you have a frozen shoulder problem, the wider that your hands go, the more you're going to feel it in your head and neck, which is a lot. So if you're wanting to feel less energy in your head and neck, make sure that you bring your hands closer together towards the center. The closer that your hands are to the center, the more that you're going to feel this in the forearms, the triceps, and up here as everything comes up into the neck region. You can also turn your hands sideways. And by turning your hands sideways, you can also feel the energy transitioning into your rib cage and into your core region, entering in through the palms. And again, you can take those hands a little wider if you want to. I'm going to turn the platform sideways so that you can see how I can change my body position in order to make a difference as to where I'm feeling this. Okay. So I'm going to go sideways here. And again, as I'm doing this, I'm going to continue to feel more and more stuff shaking out. So here we are. Okay, I'm not getting anything going on down here in my lower body at all. Okay, everything is happening upper body. I'm getting a lot of shaky. I can go a little wider. It's hard to see it from the camera, but I can assure you that there is a lot happening here in my rib cage. I can actually feel a lot of this shaking me free. I'm going to take my top shirt off because I've got a tank top on underneath, and you'll be able to see how much is happening in my arms from a connective tissue standpoint and how much is shaking. There we go. Now we can actually see this. Now, again, I've not been to the gym in 2 weeks. So there's a lot of stagnation going on here. There's a lot of adhesions. There's a lot of muscle mass that I have lost because I've been too sick to go to the gym. So you're going to see if you were to scrape me or cut me back here, it'd be very painful because the connective tissue, the fascia, has gone from jello to sticky honey peanut butter and glue, and it has created some adhesions. So the machine is shaking some of that free so that we can reshape the fascia matrix as a whole. So you go palms forward, it changes where you're shaking that energy out. Okay, if I go palms behind, so hands are in reverse, this changes, you're going to see a lot more sensory all the way up into my rib cage and through the outer arm, just based on how my hands are positioned. You can see the difference in my arms, like right there. If my hands are forward, you're not seeing as much here, but you're seeing quite a bit back here and maybe a down low. I'm doing the exact same thing on the exact same level. And when I change my hand position, you're going to see muscles firing a little different. If I go palms out to the side, you're going to see muscles firing a lot different. Okay. At the same time, if I'm wanting to increase what I feel here in the rib cage, I can round my shoulders and put more pressure, and I'm going to get a little bit more motion through here. So those of you that are wanting to get rid of these bat wings, as some people will call that, okay, you can push the bear. Think about pushing the bear off of you, tucking your tail under, okay? That's going to give more sensory right here, okay? You can go sideways with the palms. And again, getting more sensory when I round out versus when I'm right here. Go hands up underneath, push away. I'm getting all this into my rib cage midway through, okay? I can go back to relaxed in the low back, and I'm still getting some sensory, but not as much as if I'm tucking my tail under. So there's a lot of different varieties of how you can use this in order to break free some of the stuff. You can see where my fascia is bound up. Normally, I would be like real ripped and lean, and you'd be able to see the muscles that are chiseled out, but I've not exercised those muscles in 2 weeks. So I'm losing muscle mass, which means you're going to see how that tone changes because of how the fascia changes when it's not being moved. If you don't actively fire certain areas of the body every 15 to 20 minutes, the connective tissue fascia goes from jello to sticky peanut butter. And if you continue to not move it, it goes from sticky peanut butter to glue. If you use a lot of gluten in your diet, the sticky honey peanut butter turns to glue much faster, hence gluten and glue. Sugar is really nasty to the fascia connective tissue system, but we have to have sugar on some level because that's how our brain functions. Okay, so again, kind of shaking all this stuff free out of my rib cage. And if I push away, squeeze back and forth, okay, I can even, if I actually load, I'm going to get even more sensory. And again, loading, there's a lot of stuff going on here. You can definitely feel that. Some of you might be too much. Now, I am not itching in my legs and in my ribs, but I am definitely itching here through my arms. I'm itchy, 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 big time. So that means that there's a histamine response that has just happened, and my body is eliminating some of the toxins that have been stored in that connective tissue for quite some time. Sometimes it gets trapped there for a while. You can see where I'm bound up right here. This is not fat. That is connective tissue that is being compressed between my fat layers and my skin. Okay. And the machine is shaking it free. Okay. Shaking it loose. So then when I come back around and I start lifting, those muscles are now able to shorten and lengthen. And I'm actually able to fill out the size, which actually makes more lean muscle mass, which uses more fuel for energy, which allows to shrink the fat cells for fuel. So it is a cycle that is beneficial, or it can be a vicious cycle. Beneficial or vicious. So again, I can have a seat on here. I can just round my back. This actually feels really, really good because if you've been sick and if you're congested, when you round out the back and you receive the vibration, it just feels really, really good. Okay. So this is what I'm doing in order to help my body recover faster from a cardiorespiratory problem that I did not sign up for. It just happened. Happened to be in New York City for a week with lots of people. And you're on the subway, you're on the train, you're walking around Times Square, you're in and out of stores, everybody's shopping. You're on an airplane in order to get there. So I was bound and determined to pick up something. That's just how it goes. But yeah, oh, this feels so good. So, what I want you to think about with Life Pro, what can we do to help you achieve your goals? And remember, at the start of a new year, make sure that you are setting goals that you can work towards every month, every week, every day to the end game. If you want to look at your life in a year from now, so December 31st of 2025, what are you going to wish that you accomplished, and how are you going to be proud of yourself for accomplishing that? And we come up with three major goals, or five major goals, really big goals of what you could accomplish or what you want to accomplish. And then we figure out how to reverse engineer that by the quarter, by the half, by the month, then by the week, then by the day, then by the hour. That's how I have been able to, you know, get in life what I want. And some of those opportunities open up and other opportunities are closed, and we don't have control over that sometimes. And then we have to adjust and change our goals, or we have to change the plan as to how we're going to get there. But just be careful not to set yourself a New Year's resolution that's not realistic. So if I want to lose 25 pounds in the next 2 months, that's not necessarily a realistic goal because it takes a lot of discipline and a lot of major changes in order to conquer something like that. Our body and our brain does not like change. So in order to experience something we've never experienced before, we have to be willing to try something that we've never tried before. And what that means simply is that it might take you longer to get to the end game than what you're thinking. And you can't give up on yourself. You got to keep on going. Sometimes the goal changes. We tweak it just a little bit in order to know, what we're trying to accomplish and giving ourselves a little bit more grace so that our body can keep up with what we're trying to accomplish. So if you are one of those individuals who is trying to accomplish a lot in a short amount of time, it requires a lot of change. It takes 15 days to start and recognize a new habit. And it takes a minimum, it doesn't take a maximum, it takes a minimum of 30 days for that new habit to become an automatic habit that you don't even have to think about in order to make it happen. So if we try to eat right, to start moving more, and to start um, changing out what kind of foods we eat, and we are changing our exercise program, that's 3 or 4 new habits that are going to take 15 days to be able to initiate, and will take at least a month on a low level in order to recognize that those are automatic changes. That is a lot really fast for the human body that does not like change. So, my highly recommending that you think about living your whole year as a theme of what can I do to be the better version of myself possible? What can I do to move the needle forward by just one notch in order to get to the end of the year? It takes a lot of small steps and a lot of small wins in order to get to the big prize at the end of the year. And then most people are trying to chase after the big thing right out of the gate, but you don't have the patience, you don't have the time in order to make that happen. So you give up on yourself, and then because you gave up on yourself, you're disappointed. So then you either go back into eating yourself crazy, or you go to doing absolutely no exercise because you already failed yourself in your mind. So why should I try now? I'm just going to go and enjoy life because it tastes good or feels good. So think about breaking that big goal up into small little steps, reverse engineering backwards. What do I have to do over the period of the next 12 months in order to do that? And what do I have to do over the next 4 weeks of this 1 month? And what do I have to do over the next 7 days of that 1 week? And what do I have to do over the next 24 hours of this one day? And how do I break that 24 hours down into an hour at a time? So, my friends, with LifePro, and with what I do professionally and what I do personally, I live one day at a time, 1 hour at a time, because that's all I got. I was supposed to be live with you all today at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I had an athlete that passed out, fainted on my table after having a vagus nerve response to something that we've never had to deal with before. And come to figure out that that young man has passed out before, but it was not something that they shared with me until it actually happened. Um, I was planning on being here on time at 4 o'clock, but all of this happened about quarter till four, which meant that the medical side of me had to take action in order to make sure that he was taken care of and he was safe because he was in a passed out state because of a mental change in his body, not because of something physically that happened. It was a mental change. So your mind is so much more powerful than what you can ever imagine. Your mind can do things to you physically that you physically cannot create yourself. And so when it comes to trying to living life and conquering big opportunities and big rewards, you truly have to try and just stay in the moment, living an hour at a time. So I let our executives know, hey, I have a kid that just passed out on my table. I know how to handle it, but I got to get him stabilized. Getting him stabilized. And now, guess what we did in order to get him stabilized? I got him vertical after we got the shock situated. I got him on the RumbleX Plus that I'm sitting on right now, and I had him in a seated position in order to upregulate his sympathetic nervous system because his parasympathetic nervous system was trying to take over, and we don't want him to be parasympathetic. We want him to be alert and alive and going, going, going. We had to get him out of that state. So got him on the vibration platform to where he could come back to and felt safe, and heart rate goes up, respiration goes up, muscle firing activity goes up. Therefore, vagus nerve response triggers back into sympathetic nervous system. So the RumbleX made a difference for my client who is a healthy high school basketball player who passed out ever so slightly because he talked himself into a fear state as we were having a conversation about what could happen. And our mind, more often than not, thinks negative thoughts more than 50% of the time. And so if we're thinking negative thoughts, we become that. So stay positive, live an hour at a time. So after getting him stabilized and getting him on out the door to playing basketball, which he's doing right this very second, flawlessly with full energy because of the Rumble X and because of taking the right action, um, I was able to figure out, okay, I was supposed to be live 15 minutes ago, so we're going to go live now. We just have 1 hour today that we can live 1 hour to the next over a 24-hour period. We have to get through Monday before Wednesday gets here, but we can be thinking and dreaming about what we're going to do on Wednesday before it gets here, and we adjust and adapt and pivot as needed. We survive the whole week and we get to win the week based on how we define our wins. And we have to win the week in order to win every week of the month, to win the month, to win each month, in each quarter, in each half, and into winning the year. So when you go back through after you're writing down where you win every day, because you get to choose how you win your day, how you lose your day, you get to go back and look at all of these little things that we tend to forget that we even did because it's not the big wow, but we get to celebrate all these little things that we've done that we just took for granted. And at the end of the year, it's like, wow, I really won the year. I really maximized the opportunities. And there were some opportunities that came up that I didn't dream big enough for. I didn't see them coming. And there were some things that happened that I had not planned on happen that are not good, but we rebounded from it. So, my friends, on behalf of LifePro, I would like to say Happy New Year to you. Happy 2025. I'm so proud of you. For those of you who have been with us for a long time, I've been with LifePro since 2019, and here we are in 2025, and the journey just continues to get better and better. New products, new people in our wonderful, amazing community, new stories, new miracles. I cannot tell you how many miracles we have witnessed at LifePro because of people like you who are sharing your stories about how your life is just better by using some of our products. And you're sharing with us how you're using those products, whether it's intentional or not, in the directions manual or in our tutorial videos. You're sharing with us how you're using it as it makes sense to you because you might not be a medical professional in this world, but you still are trying it as an experiment and it works for you. And so, hey, you just happen to have MS and it works for you. So this person over here who has MS might try it because they might have not tried it that way and they figure out it works for them too. That's called research. And we can't control some of those conditions, but we can take your stories and we can try and apply certain things to some of the products that we offer. And we are also listening to some of you that are complaining because some of you are negative with your responses and you're complaining about what you don't like. And we're using that feedback in order to enhance and use more technology to make our products better. So you might see more vibration platforms that have different bells and whistles. You might see cryo tubs that are made for round or for oval or for different sizes for more portability. You're seeing a sauna. You're seeing sauna blankets because you don't have space for a sauna and you don't have $1,500, but you do have 200. So on behalf of LifePro, thank you so much for sharing your time with us because there is one thing that we all have in common in this wonderful, amazing life that we call life. And we all have an hour at a time, 24 hours a day. And how you use that time and how you share that time is the experience that you get to reflect upon later at the end of your day. So thank you for taking time out of your day to share with me. And thank you for allowing me an opportunity to share my gifts with all of you because that's what fills my soul with happy and with joy. And that's what gives you the resources to make your life better if you choose to apply it. And in doing that, establishing goals, because when you conquer a goal and you get to check off the box that you did it, that builds confidence. That releases dopamine and oxytocin. That is called mental health improvement just by checking off the box. So thank you for being here today. And thank you for your feedback and for sharing with us what we need to be doing better for all of you and what we're already doing great that makes a difference. I will look forward to seeing you all again next week. And again, I'm getting ready to go through some surgery. And I'm going to be sharing my journey as to how I am getting better and my post-operative care in using our Life Pro products to allow the environment of our body hacking biologically into our body to providing an enhanced environment so our body can thrive and be the best version it can be with the time that we do have. And so at the age of 46, I am looking younger than I've ever looked, and I am living my best life right now because of what Life Pro does and what all of you do to me. So thank you for allowing me to be a part of your life and for bringing out the younger and the happier in me. You guys have a wonderful day, and I'll look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you so much.